keeper's got it, played it out to a defender, and I'm like, well, hold on a minute. What's he playing at here?
Hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast. We are here again with our fun new All About series where, of course, we go and we deep dive into a particular club. So indeed, I can't do this by myself. So I brought my pod bestie along with me, Charlotte. How are you?
Do you know what? I'm really excited about this episode because obviously being bottom of the league, my team haven't won very much. So I'm quite happy to be part of an episode where there's a team winning things and doing well. So, yeah, I'm really good.
You've been invited to the promoted party. Yeah, it is a promotion party and we're all invited. I'm not doing too bad. Same as you. Very excited to talk about Burnley tonight and stuff. It's been a busy few days. So I've missed doing a podcast with you. I've not been in the last couple that we've done on the lives, of course.
I know, I've missed you.
If you're just catching this, do catch up the podcast we do on a Monday night. We are live on YouTube and Twitch as we go through all the weekends matches and all various leagues, lower leagues, European leagues. We cover it all, don't we? Really? So, yeah, we're there, but we're here today, and it's not just me and Shah. Because as we said, there's a promotion party and there's a very happy, I presume, addition to our podcast tonight. Dan from Turf Moorhouse TV, thank you very much for joining us. How are you, sir?
I am on cloud nine, enjoying the ride. I hate roller coasters, but this has been a good one. I'll go on this one again.
I was going to say, how has the last week been for you? Has it been non-stop celebrations, or is it sinking in yet?
A bit of both. Now that points total of beating Reading's in sight, I feel like I want that now, and I shouldn't be thinking that. That's just greedy. I mean, you heard me about the kebab off camera, so I won't go there with being greedy. But but to be honest, I do think I would love us to get that. But I'm looking forward more to the lap of honour, shall we say, that hopefully Blackburn will give us at Ewood, maybe. I mean,
that'd be nice for you, wouldn't it? That'd be nice. If not, you're just going to drive open top bus around the pitch anyway. So, so who minds? And of course, you are Burnley is your team. So, if everybody's sort of joining in, of course, we are recording this just after Easter. So you've just been promoted. There was obviously the Good Friday game with the promotion, and then straight off was Sheffield United as well on the Monday. So, which also went your way as well, and a double kind of fantastic end to that weekend. So, as we stand at the minute, Burnley will be in the Premier League next season and returning. So just to sort of delve in before we go into this season and all of those joys, how did Burnley for you? Where did it all start, Dan?
It started, funnily enough, bit of a backstory. I wasn't really that into football as a kid, or my family background didn't have that much of a football fan base, but I went to a few soccer schools down at Turf Moor, and they had a few things on. And I went to my first ever away game at Sheffield United. I lost my lunchbox. I lost some photos that I'd taken. The disposable camera that my mum told me to take. I'd lost everything that day. I can't remember the result, but I just remember sort of feeling like this. I enjoyed this. And then not long after that, I went and watched us win at Turf Moor, and yeah, it just sort of stuck from there, really. You've got to always support your hometown team, haven't you? And I think it's so easy for people to just jump on the success bus at the moment. I'm not saying that there's people going to come out the woodwork and be Burnley fans with at the minute, but no, I'm just enjoying it. Like I say, the thing is, you'll understand, Charlotte, as well, when you support a club like Burnley or Rochdale, so like this gritty northern club that sort of, you don't know whether you're going to get a result one week to the next.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam, you've had it all, so you don't have to worry. But you just having that, I enjoyed that more than just being able to see somebody who's just going to have success upon success. Built, not bought, as people say.
Mm. I mean, it said that for you, I've speaking to people before who it is their hometown club and there's all of that, and so your mate support and that, does it add that extra element in terms of celebration when that success does come? I suppose you kind of built up, you've gone through the hard times, and do you think you feel that more perhaps than say some of the more established clubs that have people jumping on in terms of fan bases?
Yeah, and you see a lot of the fan bases as well with Burnley. We're not branded like a Norwich or a Watford. We're not a yo-yo Yes, okay, maybe this season there might be the odd ones that have gone, you've gone down, you've come straight back up. But when we've gone up, we've had stability there. We've at least had 2 seasons before we've dropped. We've not done a West Brom that was literally, boing, boing, baggage is said for a reason, right? Because they literally bounce up and down. So I'm just hoping we can build on this success right now. It's going to be a very long process. And it's like a lot of the people at the club have said, from chairman to manager to, tea lady, have said that things are changing, but it's just at the moment we're still at a lick of paint stage. We've still got a lot to do.
Yeah, I think as you say, like it's kind of come, I suppose, all the eyes have been on you also in the last kind of couple of months, which is, obviously you've been storming the Championship for a while, but I think it's all in people's kind of eyes set now as okay, Burnley are coming back and starting to look at and delve underneath the kind of levels of what's going on. I think, as you said, you've had the previous regime, which we'll come on to in a bit, in terms of how the previous Premier League run, and say the legend of Sean Dyche. As anybody who watches the podcast knows, we are a lover of Sean Dyche, so we will surely be dipping into that. But Burnley, of course, are one of the oldest football clubs. There's a huge history behind Burnley, and has been for many years. In terms of your earliest Burnley memory, how far back do you go for your earliest Burnley memory?
See, I've got a lot of recent ones because I recently lost my dad, so a lot of those recent ones have come back. Literally, I lost him 2 weeks ago, so this is the first podcast I've stuck my head into since he passed. But so I do think back to those times where I had a season ticket with him, and that opening 1-0 win against Manchester United at Turf Moor in the Prem. That Blake stunner, just something else. But no, I think it probably mid-90s, mid-90s to like 97, something like that. But then I really got hooked when Stan Ternent obviously helped us win the Division 1 playoffs in the Millennium. And we went up with that win at Scunthorpe. And it was just, something else. Absolutely something else was that. Just Glenn Little walking away, just wheeling his arm around. Those are the days you look back on now and you think how far you've come as a club when you look back. But those are the memories that will stick with me. When the pitches were cut up like no tomorrow, none of this pristine, everything's got a design now. But no, it was great times, and ones I look back on fondly as well.
Well, I bet, yeah. And so the playoffs, we always talk about a lot of each other. The playoffs just add such a dimension when they're in those leagues. And everyone's, most clubs have at least been to a final, a semi, or it just adds, there's a whole different level. I mean, I say years ago, I did the League One and the League Two playoff finals back to back. It just supported whoever I was kind of in the end of. And you could just see that I was a Barnsley fan for the day. So, yeah.
So I wanted Plymouth to win the Papa John's one just because they had a career with Plymouth on Football Manager. So, I feel where you're coming from.
This is it. So I was at uni at Plymouth, so I saw a couple of games there, and so my dream for them was that they had a scoreboard, because I remember going there thinking, how long's left? I can't see how long left. There's no scoreboard here.
It was the most torturous away day as well, weren't it? Because you travel for hours.
Yeah.
I just remember, I think I was 14, something like that, and I stayed at a friend's house the night before, and we'd done an all-nighter. So when we had to get on the coach at 5 o'clock in the morning, and there were people sat near us that if you fell asleep were sticking marshmallows up your nose and trying to set them on fire and all sorts. I mean, it was just the typical away day. We went all the way down there. I had a brand new coat and I ripped that. I slipped playing football with these Plymouth lads. I had mud all down there. My mate got kicked out the ground. I ripped my new coat and we got beat 2-0. It was just, but I've got that memory, so that I suppose in a way, if all that didn't happen in that day, I won't be looking back thinking it was a slog, but it was a slog worth it.
It was a slog and a half. I've done that slog to Plymouth a few times, I can tell you. It's a hell of a slog.
I remember as well, we did one to Torquay, and all we needed was a win against Torquay to gain promotion, and it was under Keith Hill. Luckily, we got promoted that season, but we got hammered 5. I think you're about 5-0 or something. It was awful. So we went all the way down to Torquay. Great weekend, such a nice place, but it was just like, come on. every far away, honestly, Torquay, Plymouth, them kinds of teams where we do the big hike, we always lose against. Fuming.
They do. I think it's the mileage. The mileage makes
I
it
know.
worse for sure, because they just know you've got that journey back, haven't you? Thinking, why have I ended up here? Why have I ended up here? Why have I gone down? But so yeah, I think so. It's fantastic that you've been to the grounds of Plymouth and etc. and things like that. Maybe Plymouth will be up in the Premier League one day soon. We can only live in hope. But I'm in charge. Do you want to go on to podcasting? I think is a topic we want to talk about, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Because obviously we've got all this in common, haven't we? We're all like podcasters.
Yeah.
We all can talk a hell of a lot. So how did your journey kind of start with podcasting? Was there a particular moment where you thought, this is for me? Or is it just something you enjoy doing in your spare time?
I just started out sort of, one person asked me, I'd been on someone on news, a Burnley fans channel, and someone said, "Oh, I'd love you to come on. I love the way you put yourself across." And I think it was a Man United fan channel, actually, Sam. Somebody had asked me to come on and just put on like a point across. So I did, went on that. And then I ended up sort of becoming a bit of a regular slot on this United channel. And it just, it was strange. But after a while, I thought, could I do it? Could I do it myself? And I just threw myself into it, especially during obviously COVID and stuff. I just thought, right, maybe instead of sitting at home just wallowing and feeling anxious and stuff like that, just chat crap about football like you would do if you were down the pub. Just do that. That's all you've got to do, except there's a camera on. So yeah, born out of COVID, I suppose. I think what wasn't, to be honest. So yeah, I just enjoy doing it. I really do enjoy doing it, and it's grown, and it's getting to that 1K now as well as the channel. It's not far off. It's just a whisker away, but I love the people you meet. Yes, it's tough because you've got to go around and like, oh, are you free? And you've got to try and sort days out. That I could do without that in a heartbeat. But you build up a good rapport with these people, and if you get on and you click, so it just works. And yeah, I enjoy it. And like I say, hopefully we click and we'll talk further as well. No,
definitely. So yeah, I would say this is the great thing of podcasting, isn't it? And you get the opportunity to cross across into so many things, and this is what our podcast has hopefully been all about. We like to encompass all sorts of things, and we're always happy to make new friends. I think, as Josh says,
I was just about to say that. Yeah, that's a good thing about meeting new people, because not only do you get to hear about other people's teams and their experiences and memories, but you actually make lifelong friends as well. And
of course.
It sounds mad. But some of these people, and then you go on to like meet them at away days. It's like me with my Her game too, and the people I've met through that. It's just amazing, and it's mental just talking about your football team on a podcast and what it can kind of do in your life.
Yeah, I mean, from this, I've been accepted onto a fan supporters board that Burnley Football Club organised.
Brilliant.
And there's about 20 odd of us in it. And I think there was around 40 to 60 people actually apply. So to have got through, you had to sit through like an interview process to try and get on it as well. So, you hear a lot of things that you've obviously got to sign an NDA, stuff that the club are going to tell you that you can't say to people. But just to have that privilege to be sat in that room, and then all of a sudden Alan Pace walks in and you just sat there having a chat and a brew with the chairman, you're almost walking out like, yes, mate. And it actually just, it blows your mind that when you've been a fan of a club and watched it grow, and then you almost become sort of a little tiny part of it, you feel the togetherness, and I like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I kind of get that kind of vibe at like Rochdale as well, and it's just the club itself. It's a very, like with Burnley as well, like those kind of clubs, you feel more part of it. And as much as it should be great supporting a Premier League team and like Manchester United are big teams, you do feel part of these clubs. Like you're not just a number. You're not just a number. It sounds awful to say, but for many big clubs, you are just a number. But like our clubs in particular, you do feel more part of it.
Yeah, and I think that it brings me back to something that Sean Dyche once said with Burnley, that if you kick a Burnley fan, the whole town limps.
Yeah.
That it's sort of like everybody's in it together.
Yeah.
It's one big community and one big family, and yeah, obviously sometimes that legacy still lives in the mind.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's good. So I don't feel like a number at Manchester United. I don't
Sorry.
I don't even feel like a number, to be honest.
Yeah. So annoyed, Josh.
The Glazers value me immensely, I can imagine. I'm sure I'm very important to them.
You've got VIP status. They'll stick you under the roof where it's leaking.
They have they are, yeah. Free shower. Oh dear. I think just going back on your point on the podcasting with COVID as well, I wanted to touch on, because I think there's so many people that there's been such a boom in podcasting in different kind of areas, in gaming, I think, as well, like sort of people streaming and that, and it's made such a difference, I think, to people, as you said, discovering that this is something that they like to do and can talk to do and whatever, and say you've your channel's grown fantastically in such a short amount of time, really, and the sort of stuff you've done. I mean, was it when you started out, as you said, you're sat in the rooms with Alan Pearce and things like that, was that ever a goal or a plan or a hope, or was it just kind of that's just where it happened and all the best for it?
It just happened. It just happened. You go from having nothing to next minute, all of a sudden you're like 20 people watching you. And you do get them days where you're like, I could just easily sack this off. But then you've got to keep telling yourself, keep going, keep going. And then now I look at it and I think there's nearly 1,000 people, not tuning in every week, but there's nearly 1,000 people that are subscribed to maybe go back and watch it just to listen to me waffle on about general nonsense of how I feel. And I think that's why I like doing the watch-alongs on games and stuff like that, because the amount of people I've had, I think, was it the last watch-along and the one before, there was people from Uganda, Kenya, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, all these people that had popped in. And it's not even all Burnley fans either. It's fans of other clubs that are just putting like, congratulations, you're doing amazing. I'm watching it on Sky, but I've muted it and I'm listening to you because I'm getting it from a real fan perspective. And it just, you sort of just puff the chest out, you're like, yes, I've arrived. I mean, I'm not on Sky Sports level, I'll give you that.
Not yet.
They definitely need a bleep machine. They need a bleep machine. But no, I think it's great what people do, and I enjoy watching it and seeing people's passion just ooze out of them when they do it as well. So yeah, it's amazing.
Even on our podcast as well, in particular, we get the regular viewers obviously coming in, but to them it's like their routine and their thing. So not only is it appreciating, like it's a thank you to us who obviously do it and do the content, but it's kind of like their night, and it keeps them company. So people who are lonely, who obviously are struggling, it can kind of help them as well. So that's why I love doing it as well, because it's just making their day and making them smile for that hour or half an hour. I think it's great. Yeah,
because it's one thing having subscribers and your subscriber count go up.
Yeah.
But if you're in it for just watching that count go from, number to number, then you're not doing it for the reason you want to do it. You wanted to do it because you want to have a laugh. You want to interact with other people. That's your main focus for doing it. And on the flip side of that, you are going to get these people that think they're just a subscriber, but they're not. I constantly say throughout, if people are going to subscribe, you're not just a subscriber. If you're here and you're in the chat, we will chinwag back and forth. We're a little community, we're a little family, and that's what I like about it.
It's good, isn't it? And so that interaction, as Shah said, we love it because it is like a little family. It's like, and they're kind of in jokes of the people that are in every week as well, and you can kind of see it sort of bounces off, and it's so nice, and such an element that I think I never felt sort of getting into podcasting would be something that you'd feel or be there, as you said, that someone would even listen to you. You're like, my mates barely listen to me down the pub. What's anyone going to listen to me on this? My opinion is, you're a Man United fan. Sit down, I'm not listening to you. What do you know? So it is. No, it's great, and it's great to see your stuff doing good, and all the best for it. So we hope it continues for you, because it's excellent.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So it's excellent stuff. Talking now back to Burnley in the Premier League. I want to get to Burnley in the Premier League, because that's ultimately where you're now going. You know, that's back to the big time. Obviously, you had the first promotion back in 2008, 2009. You were back again 2014, 15, and then back again, I think, even 16, 17, sort of, and that was your stint there. Going back to that kind of first promotion, how did that feel as the first one? The first time you were kind of entering in the Premier League, was that trepidation, thinking we're in trouble here, or was that just real excitement?
If we're talking the first one through the playoffs in 2009 under Owen Coyle, that was something else. Me and a mate actually kept saying to ourselves for a year, we always do rubbish around Christmas. We literally it's like we've been out on the Christmas do, and we are rough for about a month and a half, and we just can't seem to find our right leg, our left leg. Like, the football ability is just gone. So that year was something strange. You know, we spent money on players we didn't think we'd ever buy. You know, Chris Eagles, from yourself, Sam, you know, was an up-and-coming player at Manchester United, and we thought, you know, how have we even got this guy? A couple of foreign players were brought in that I think played the opening game of the season and never played for the club again, which is totally understandable, because we got beat something like 5-1 off Sheffield Wednesday. Not good. But yeah, it was literally just a great feeling. Like, say, we had the cup run that year. We knocked Chelsea out of the Carling Cup on penalties. We beat Arsenal at Turf Moor as well. Nearly got to Wembley. You know, Spurs thought they'd had the job done at White Hart Lane, and then we nearly turned it around at Turf Moor. The only year they decided to put the away goal happens after extra time. Clearly, Burnley get to a semi-final, and the only year they do that.
Funny that. Rules.
But I liked how we sort of just went for it at the end. You know, we used that sort of upset to get to the playoff final, and yeah, just one thing. I just remember standing in floods of tears. My dad's picking me up, bouncing me around the stadium, and he's like, "Why are you not celebrating?" I'm just like, "I am.
It's too much."
But, yeah, exactly. It's sort of like the realization hadn't sank in, and then you come out and people have got the radios on, and all you can hear is Owen Coyle will link to the Celtic job straight after Wembley, and you're just like, for crying out loud. So yeah, promotion's always great. So it's a feeling of, you know, a bit like when you fall in love, I suppose. Like, you get butterflies, don't you? And it's one of them things. So I don't know. There's something about it. It's a once in a lifetime thing for some people, but for others, you know, you get to experience that feeling quite often.
What was your favourite memory like? I know you probably got a few, but in the Premier League, is there any particular moments that do stand out from your time in the Premier League?
Sorry, Sam.
I knew it was coming. Everyone remembers the day they did us. Everyone remembers.
It's the whole thing, though. Everybody talks about the Robbie Blake goal, which let's not deny it was a phenomenal finish against, obviously, now fellow YouTuber, shall we say? No, I'm not saying we're on par, but, you know, Ben Foster wearing goal that day. And then, you know, Carrick stepped up for the penalty. Brian Jensen saved it. That was a great day. But I sometimes take note of some of the games, like some of the defeats. You know, some of the goals we've scored in defeats. You know, that first season back up again, Blake's strike from range against Blackburn. Ashley Barnes scores against Tottenham, and we drew 1-1, I think, in that game. Eric Lamela had never scored for Spurs in God knows how many months, and his only goal for Spurs pretty much comes against us. Just had to be. But yeah,
probably to be fair, Lucas on the pod is always going at Eric Lamela, and anytime he goes at Eric Lamela, he scores. So it was probably Lucas's fault back in 2009.
That's the same with Mason Mount as well.
Ooh. But no, there's been a good few. I mean, George Boyd from Range against Manchester City. I know it's bad to say now, but thank you, Vincent Kompany, for that assist straight to the foot of George Boyd, who just half volley smash into the bottom corner. But like I say, some of the defeats, losing 6-1 or 6-0 to Manchester City at the Turf, finding out that your midfielder who got subbed off at half time has gone to the local pub to meet his family. It's like, just like, you couldn't, even though you were from Scotland, and yes, okay, people can stereotype, you've just done probably the most Burnleyest thing of deciding, I'm not staying and watching this, I'm going to the pub.
There's an element of respect and disappointment in the same feeling.
We mentioned, obviously, all of us on the pod, we absolutely love Sean Dyche. Like, we wanted him to come back into football because we are fans of him. Like, what are your views on him, obviously? Like, I'll just give you the word Sean Dyche and then you can talk. We love him.
I will hold my hand up, and I've said it from day one. I had question marks over his appointment.
Really?
I thought, typical Burnley, we've gone for the cheap option. Because it's only two managers before. Coyle's gone, and we've employed Brian Laws, who's got sacked from Sheffield Wednesday, and asking the players in training, so what's the Premier League like? Like, what sort of belief does that instill for a start? Okay, Eddie Howe came in, did pretty well, like I said. But it was a case of, with Eddie Howe, you score 4, we'll score 5. And that's where Dyche came in. You know, Shearer's up at the back, and he pretty much did straight from the get-go. We all had our doubts about him. Like I say, he wasn't really that proven. You know, he's probably had a good few months at Watford before the Pozzos did what they do now every week. So he's come in and he's been given time. He's been given time to do what an old school manager is. A bit like they've gone in, they run the club, they tell the chairman what to do, sort of thing. And it was good to have that, because he's gone in and he said, I want us to upgrade the training facilities, the youth facilities. I want us to look into the things that we've got now are down to his principles and what he wants, what he wanted. So, you know, I can't really thank him enough for what he did. The timing of his sacking is one thing I will always question. If you were going to sack him straight after the Norwich game, not on the Friday, the day before the next game, when he's just about to go and take a team meeting. Although I have heard that when he did get sacked, he's gone back into the room where the players were and said, the king is dead, I'm off. So this is what's been reported, but you know what the rumour mill like is in football. But it just sounds like the most Sean Dyche thing to do.
I was going to say.
So for him to do that, he stuck to his principles. That's what I liked about him. He did have that fun element to him as well. You know, you'd always see him at like gigs and festivals, and so he was sort of just like your average Joe as well. But when it came to football matters, he was on it. Again, I relate to someone like Arsene Wenger at Arsenal. There's only so long a manager can have a period in football where eventually it will go stale. And I think we were getting to that. You know, a lot of the players have come out and said he became a little bit standoffish. So it happens. It happens. People change. You know, it's about having that alignment. God, I'm starting to sound like him now. Fine margins. But he's what he's done for the club is sustained us. We are in a very healthy position, and it was about the right appointment and taking that next step to what we believe we can achieve.
Definitely. For me as a manager, he was just, I mean, the journey that you went on and that kind of run in the Premier League and say European football as well. You know, we had that kind of joys. I mean, you were there was a period where you weren't even in the relegation discussion. You know, Dyche was a bit at the start of the season, and Dyche would be laughing, and then come March, just sat in like 9th place or something. Going,
I remember the back of the papers. It said something like formidable, and we'd just beaten Stoke, I think 2-0 away from home. and we were up in fourth in the table, and I remember cutting it out of the paper. I'm just like, I'm keeping hold of that. I've eventually binned it and stuff, or I might have give it to Chippy or something to use. But it's just those moments that you're never going to get. We never thought we'd see Burnley in the Premier League, let alone kick about, playing European football, traveling to Istanbul, Olympiacos. These things that you never expect as a little club like Burnley. What I looked at was a bit like when Fulham had it.
Yeah.
You know, okay, fair enough. They went all the way to the final. I'll give them that. But we tried our best with a depleted squad, an aging squad, and I can't say much fairer than that. To be fair, we should have got a goal at Turf Moor. We should have beat Olympiacos. We should have qualified for me. But que sera, I suppose.
Enjoy the ride. So it was fun. I remember Burnley being in that because you started really early as well. You got the horrendous where you had to start like
I hated it.
Middle of June or something, wasn't it? With
it's a bit like the Championship now. It was like Tuesday, Saturday. Except this was more like Wednesday, and it was just messing with people's minds with getting it all sorted. We know what it's like football now. You know, the fixtures come out at the start of the season. You're buzzing for all the ones you think you can go to. Gets near to it, book a hotel, book the train, and the game's changed for Sky.
Yeah.
So infuriating.
I'm fine with that. We don't get that. It's usually waterlogged pitch.
Oh, dear. It'll happen, Char. It'll happen. We believe. We still believe. And so I want to move on now, Dan, to something we've done with every episode so far is your favourite Burnley 11 going through from goalkeeper to striker. So we did pre-warn you. We're nice enough to pre-warn you with this and chuck this on you. So the first question is, are you playing the Sean Dyche 4-4-2? That's the first question.
I have gone old school, yeah. I have gone old school. Yes. I've gone 4-4-2.
Good man.
It was tough. It was tough for us because we've always sort of been blessed with some decent keepers. You know, at one point we had Nick Pope, Tom Heaton, and Joe Hart, 3 England goalkeepers in that setup. Yeah. And massive respect to Billy Mercer, by the way, the goalkeeping coach, who's turned, you know, the likes of Tom Heaton and Nick Pope, 2 keepers that were relegated with championship clubs into England internationals. So fair play to him, in case he ever comes across this and fancies just giving me a shout or whatever. But I have to give it to Nick Pope. I have to give it to Nick Pope because he's still playing now and he's still found a way to adapt into that Newcastle team as well. A lot of people questioned him. What's question marked him? But you know, in terms of the ability of him having the ball at his feet, you know, he was used to just being the shot stopper, but he also had a good back four in front of him. So I have to give it to Nick Pope over Tom Heaton, who came in and hit the ground running as soon as Heaton had his shoulder injury. Kieran Trippier, I sound like I'm going to name a Newcastle 11 here, but Trippier at right back was something else. Sean Dyche always said he don't do favourites, but Kieran's up there. I've been cheeky with my back four. I've gone for Michael Duff for his longevity. That no matter what, any defender that has been at the side of him has been class. But he's also been able to match their ability. You know, a Champman legend, if people want to go down that route. But he was there for what? I think we bought him for something like 35k, something absolutely dirt cheap from Cheltenham, and went on to be an absolute club legend. So he had to get in there for me. Alongside him is James Tarkowski. He was solid, absolutely solid. Did not shy out of a challenge whatsoever, which means I couldn't believe it that I thought, where can I put Ben Mee? But originally, he did start out at Burnley as a left back before we moved him into centre. So I've been sneaky that I've used his versatility. I've used his versatility and stuck him on the left.
What you've done is you've merged Dyche with Kompany, haven't you? Because that formation's going to change in possession, isn't it? Me will come across, and yeah, I see it.
You've got to try it. You've got to try it. On the right, I've gone for Maxwell Cornet, and I know he didn't spend a lot of years at the club, but just him coming in, it was like, hold on, you've gone from playing Champions League football with Leon to playing Kirby on a cul-de-sac in Burnley. Like, what's all that about? So for him to come in, he was a player that none of us knew what he was like, but we weren't that sort of team that could exploit the spaces, getting in. Our main attacker would get in behind the defence, but there wouldn't be anybody else trying their best to get in them sort of areas. He did that, and it broke up the play a lot more, and we'd be able to sort of have a little bit of an expansive play under Dyche. People will slate me for saying that, but we did go a little bit more expansive in that sense, but still tight knit. So he gets in there for that. Midfield, I'm going to go Stephen Defoe. Very injury prone, but the stuff he could do with a ball at his feet was next to nothing. Like he was just c'est magnifique for a Belgium. He is amazing. Jack Cork's another one I'd like to have put in there, but I've sort of toyed with that idea, and I've had to go for a bit of a. If you've got some creativity, you're going to need somebody who's just taking no prisoners. So Joey Barton had to go in. So I've gone for that take no prisoners role. Joey Barton in with Stephen Defoe. Robbie Blake on the left. Does anything really need saying about that? 2 or 3 stints at the club, and hit the ground running every time he did. Ashley Barnes, it looks like it's going to be his curtain call at the end of the season. None of us expected that. 1 minute you're seeing us win at Borough, and you're ecstatic to him saying it's the end of an era, and you're like, no, don't go. Not yet. Do a Vardy and be an impact sub or something. But no, so he's got in there, and I can't let Danny Ings go for the man up top. Like I say, I'd love to have seen us have Charlie Austin up top. I think he would have been great in the Prem, but obviously he went to QPR and they were playing Prem football. So Danny Ings for me was the next best thing.
He was. Danny Ings. Yeah, Danny Ings was prolific. I remember him coming up, that initial, wasn't it? Danny Ings coming in, and it was another, because you had these players that would come up from the Championship and they'd have hit 20 and everyone's going, can they? But you could see with someone like Ings straight off the bat and say, he's another one, isn't he? Him and Austin without injuries would have been very interesting to see how their careers would have progressed. It's a shame for both of them.
He's now scoring 4 against Rochdale.
He's now scoring 4 against Rochdale. Yeah. That's how good he is.
He's buggered off down to Australia, comes back and gets 4 against Rochdale.
Yeah.
He scored 4 in his opening game, then 4 against us. He's got 8 goals now.
Oh, absolute sickener.
I know.
Cheeky Charlie. Outrageous. Well, to be fair, that's a pretty good 11. So some good names in there, some good mixes of players. So just want to touch on Stephen Defoe. I remember a lot of opposition players the season he was in said he was one of their hardest tests actually in midfield. They used to say that Defoe and and it might have been Dyche actually who was talking about his technical abilities, said by far the best midfielder he'd seen at Burnley from a technical standpoint when he was there. Yeah,
he was just different gravy. Absolutely something else. Just the things he could do with that ball. It was, when you've got a player that's too good for you, that sort of, he's better than the rest of you, but sort of you don't go out and say it because you're just glad he's yours, he's your player, and you get to watch him.
Yeah.
My only problem is, if he was to play under Vincent Kompany, I think he would have flourished. He'd have got more games. The only problem with playing under Dyche, he's got a few injuries, fit, and then Dyche fit, which was next level. So when he had, a bit of crippling pain in the back of his ankle, it was hard to see him get game time. But when he did come on, he only scored 4 goals for the club, but all 4 of his goals were amazing. That free kick again. Sorry, Sam. That free kick against United.
This is why I remember him. Yeah. Bloody screamers. Matt teams that had come up and score an absolute perler against us.
He scored like a 30-yarder against Hull. He chipped the keeper against Bristol City. He's just and there's another goal somewhere which I can't remember, but he was just something else. What a player! And then, like I say, Joey Barton to bring him in and be so level-headed. This is a player we've signed off the back of Sean Dyche cooking him an omelette. Like, you don't hear of that. Usually it's a lot of agent talk and stuff. Oh, come round to my house, we'll have a chat. I'll knock you an omelette up. Next minute he's holding a Burnley shirt up.
Yeah.
What is all that about?
What's that about? The negotiations of Dyche. I mean, that's a book and a half if I'm ever going to read one. Super Dyche. Well, so we'll move from that's the past. Let's move to the now, the exciting season that you're having, because it's almost over, but it's been absolutely fantastic, and what a successful season it's been. I mean, going down last season, I suppose the obvious question is, did you think promotion straight back up was on the cards from that last summer?
No. We knew that players like Tarkowski were going to leave. His contract was running out anyway. And then, a lot of people have been sniffing around Dwight McNeil, Maxwell Cornet. So we thought, we're going down, we are going to lose some big key players. And then you're thinking, you've already got a depleted squad as it is. So what do we do now? Relegation came at a perfect time. If you come to think of it, and I know I may be speaking about the fact of where we are now, but it's like what Alan Pace actually said. He said originally, if we'd have stayed up, we'd have had to try and keep hold of some of those players that were a little bit older, and we wouldn't have been able to chop and change as much as we have done. But the sale of those players and going down meant we could, exercise a different sort of market. We could move forward. But I really didn't think we'd get promoted at all. In fact, I did a prediction video for where teams would finish, and I thought I was being a little bit realier, and I put us in 8th, because I thought we're going to have an adjustment period no matter what manager comes in, whether it's Mark Jackson who carried on or, with Ben Mee sort of assisting. But then you could always see that Ben Mee always had Premier League quality. For me, I always thought missed out on an England cap. I mean, sorry, Sam, but I would have rather have had Ben Mee in an England shirt than Aaron Maguire.
So would many Man United fans, to be honest.
I feel like this may just be an episode where it's like, sorry, goals against Manchester United, and then, sorry, Sam.
It might just be. Yeah, well, I was going to touch on, actually, when you said players too good for the club, I was going to mention Wout Weghorst, but
you said too good for the club. Jeez.
Oh, current superstar, yeah. But yeah, but you are looking, unlike us, you are looking at a champions season. Now where I think I say it's almost mathematically impossible, isn't it? Where we're at now. So if you're watching this in 3 months and something extraordinary's happened, then sorry, but it looks like you're going to be champions and open bus tour and all the rest of it. So we can't move on without starting to move to Vincent Kompany and. Incredible job that he's done coming in. I mean, first of all, one of the questions we had actually in when we knew we were going to be on from the chat came in about Vincent Kompany and saying, was that something you questioned at the time, or what was the initial reaction you had to when Kompany was announced?
I mean, even prior to his announcement, I thought, there were rumours being banded around, but I didn't think he'd actually come to us. I thought if he's going to come to us, it'll have been with Premier League safety intact. So I sort of had my heart set on Wayne Rooney coming in because of the job he'd done at Derby, and being still that name pull would have been something great. However, it just, we announced Kompany, and I was just like, yes, like this is going to be great. A lot of people sometimes had their differences, maybe, shall we say. Some of them was questioning, but he didn't really do much at Anderlecht. So what's he going to do with Burnley? You never know. You never know. Like I said, Dyche didn't. This is what I kept telling people. As much as I was saying Dyche was a cheap option at the beginning, when you look back, I was saying Dyche was an unknown. So let's give him a chance. So I changed my tune a little bit. But he's come in and he has been what we wanted. He has been that name pull. These players that you wouldn't have even found as gems on Football Manager, you seriously wouldn't. These players you've never even heard of in a million years. I mean, the last time I saw an ass was when I walked past the mirror, and then all of a sudden we've signed a player called an ass. It's like, what the heck?
You're not talking about Weghorst again, are you?
Oh no, that's something you find on Blackpool seafront. You can get £1.50 a ride or something. But, he's the players he's brought in, the ability that's coming out of these guys as well. You know, we had a plan to be promoted in the next 2, 3, 4 years, not straight away. But we've hit the ground running with Zarori, with Benson, these players that we bought for practically peanuts. You know, people keep saying, "Oh, parachute payment FC." You don't instantly get the parachute payments. And if anything, they should be thanking us for getting promoted, because we don't see any of that now. We don't see the other half. It gets distributed to the other clubs. So the thing is, people are quick to judge.
They love to jump on the bandwagon.
Oh, of course they do.
And so the
we're under an embargo. We're under an embargo, for Christ's sake. I think we're going to come out of that in the next few weeks, from what I'm sort of hearing around the place. But that's only because, you know, we changed our auditors and we had to get things up and running. So again, and we were late with handing the details of the books over. But it's been a smooth transition. It's been an enjoyable one, and Vincent Kompany definitely brings something different than Sean Dyche, not just colour of beard.
Yeah. What does he wear in the snow? That's the main question.
Is it snuddy or just shirt?
To be fair, I was one that was quick to judge, because I've got this big thing, and I say it all the time on the podcast. If you're a quality player, it doesn't make you a quality manager. So when I first saw him like being linked, I thought, oh, is it going to be like another Frank Lampard? And, you know, those kind of roles of Steven Gerrard. But obviously he's proven me wrong. But I just wanted to touch on his style of play, because from what I've read and from what I have heard, he's very possession-based, like Pep Guardiola. Yeah. Is it mental as a Burnley fan to see that kind of football? Obviously, being under Sean Dyche like the season before, is it quite mad?
Shrewsbury pre-season. Me and a mate have gone down in the car. We've got there. I had probably one of the best chicken balti pies I've had all season. All season. It's literally pre-season, but chicken balti pies are just next level. Either that or peppered steak. That's it. There's nothing greater. You smash that. You sat in your seat. You're 3 or 4 pints deep, and all of a sudden you're looking at the pitch and you're seeing this. With keeper's got it, played it out to a defender, and I'm like, well, hold on a minute. What's he playing at here? And then you're just seeing it go from one side to the other, and it's a bit like, you know, that old game that used to, it was sort of like Tetris, where it sort of went like, not Tetris, like table tennis, and the ball kept going along your screen. It was almost just like watching this. But we're used to just seeing it like fly past us, and that's it. You know, everyone sort of just stands where they need to stand, be strong, take it on the chest, play the attacker in. Most of the time it was Chris Wood near offside, but hey ho. And then, you know, whatever happens from there. But what we did, even those people that have been watching us since the 70s or 80s were just shouting, "Lump it forward! What are you playing at?" And I'm just sat there like, oh my God, this manager's coming and he's just going to be like, do I have to do that? Is this just part of the club? But we came off and was like, this is not Burnley. It's not us. Like, there's going to be a huge change that people are going to have to get used to. Sorry. So we're seeing it now, though. It's paying off big time. You know what he's doing. It's scary, especially when we play it back to the keeper and we're trying to, you know, the opposition are raining down on you. You are prone to mistakes with it, and we aren't a finished article. Like I say, we've only just, you know, got the ball rolling. So a few tactical people in there, a few tacticians have come in as well. You know, having Craig Bellamy as Vincent Kompany's number 2, that'll shore us up a little bit. He took no prisoners, did he? So he's one of those players. I just love the philosophy we've got going. whether it's possession based or we mixed it up a little bit against Borough, I thought as well, and against Sheffield United. There were the odd few times where we do go long. The ball, we are passing it around, ball comes back to Muric, Teller's sort of going like, I'm on the run, and we've sort of played it over the top, and we've got a goal from it. In fact, I think Muric has contributed to a bulk of our goals this season by just pumping it long for Teller. So I'm not saying that we are still hoofball or Brexit FC, as people used to call us, but we've certainly adapted, and sometimes, like I say, under Dyche, it wasn't the most pleasant to watch, but you got results.
Yeah.
I think we're now finding a balance with something that's enjoyable to watch and also getting results. Next season, maybe not so much the latter.
I was going to say next season is I guess a different challenge for that, because I mean I was looking at the results you had, and it was kind of that kind of start. There was a lot of draws kind of early on, and then it kind of really motivated. You could see it kind of clicked in, and the goals started to come as well as the performances.
I think that 5-2 defeat against Sheffield United was a big catalyst for lace your boots up. If you want something this season, you've got to go out and get it. You've got to earn it. I think that was the wake-up call that we needed, and obviously we showed them that. As much as their fan base say, yeah, well, we've got the upper hand because we beat you 5-4 in aggregate. It's like, cracky. Are you really going down that route? Yeah. Really going down that route? Yeah. But yes, ever since then, it's just been an incline. 20 games unbeaten now, unbeaten at Turf Moor since 2015 in terms of championship games. So there's been many a stat broken this year. I'm just loving it. Absolutely loving it.
Just buzzing it. One thing I also want to touch on with Kompany as well was we mentioned briefly on the transfer side of things as well, because he's been obviously he's got the network and whatever from Belgium, from Anderlecht, where a lot of these, and it wasn't just Anderlecht. It was, I think you only got one from Anderlecht. There was an Antwerp, and there was quite spread around. So he's obviously got his scouting network in there, and the club, I think from what I understood anyway, was that the sales of the players was to pay off some of the debt that they kind of had, and then they used what was left to. And it was very shrewd transfers, small fees. You've obviously got a number of loan players as well that you've kind of come in, which is, again, some from Manchester City. Vincent Kompany's links obviously there were kind of key. And then you picked up one from Teller. So I live in Southampton, and Southampton fans are not happy that Teller's been with you all season. I can tell you, when they're watching 35-year-old Theo Walcott down the wing, there's that bloody bloke at Burnley. Why is he not with us? That's ridiculous. But I mean, say the transfers he's brought in, and does that give you more hope that obviously Premier League as well, with the reputation that Kompany has, that you feel that the style's there in terms of the play? Obviously, you've got the loan deals, what you're going to do with those, but do you feel that Kompany's going to be able to get the next level of player that you feel you're going to need for the Premier League?
Yeah, I think he's brought these players in and thought they was just going to be ready to be nurtured for in 2 or 3 years' time anyway. But to see them grow and actually become, potential champions, and then grow into the Premier League. These are young kids that have still got. I still find it weird that I talk about young kids because I still feel young mentally. But these are kids that are like 22, 23 years old and are really pushing the boat out. They have still got so much room to grow, and they will go on and they will outgrow the club. A lot of players do. Some of them you just get rid of because you sort of club outgrows them. But the players we've got at the moment have just been fantastic. I must give a shout out as well to players like Barnes, Cork, Johan Berg Gudmundsson. These players that are still knocking about in their 30s, J. Rodriguez as well, that have literally managed to still adapt to the way things are going. My glasses are on the tilt. That's weird. But yeah, I think we can reach those heights. I think some of the loan deals will be shared up. Ben Chilwell just signing a new deal at Chelsea. Does that give us a bit more hope with Ian Matson? Taylor Harwood-Bellis, did we get him on a similar deal to how we got Muric, where City have a cheap buyback clause? Teller, I think that's one we're going to have to probably break the bank for, because Southampton will want him back. Preferably, I'd rather have tried snapping him up when they had Nathan Jones as manager, because he just didn't have a clue. So we probably could have got him for peanuts.
That's true.
But yeah, I think we're going to do pretty well. I think we'll do pretty well. The first season when you go up has always got to be about survival anyway. But his recruitment policy has been nothing short of remarkable. I mean, even down to Lyle Foster, who's not really got much goals for us. But yet you see these players that sometimes don't really hit it off in the Championship, come up to the Premier League and start firing for fun. We had it with Barnes when he first came in from Brath, and he were a bit hit and miss. As soon as he came up, he was, the proverbial house of, shall we say. So he's just been great, and I love the recruitment side of things. It's been second to none.
Do you think it's kind of worked so well as you mentioned, you have still got your experience as well as obviously these younger, fresher heads coming through. So it is kind of vital, isn't it, to have like your J. Rodriguez and players like that? Do you think that is kind of vital?
Yeah. J-Rod's a local lad as well. So I actually went to Bardin high school for my first year of high school. I spent at Bardin before I moved. I played football with him at dinner time, and I megged him and went, "You'll never make it as a footballer." And now I'm the one sat talking about him on the internet. Small world, but he's, these things happen. It's good to have that experience. These players sort of can. We've said about Ashley Barnes now. He's gone from being everybody's answer when there's been a problem to being the dad of the group.
Yeah.
So. We've had those highs and lows of relegation and things like that. He's now going to be able to say, look, we've been here. It's sour, it hurts, or it's a great feeling. Soak it up. But remember, you've got to have your wits about you. It's going to be tough, and this is where your true credentials are going to be shown.
Yeah. I have to say it's a big time coming up and a big time to prep for and get ready for the season that's coming. But if you're making a statement now, we're 12 months on, a Burnley still a Premier League side in 24-25. Where's your money at if you had to place it today?
Comfortable mid-table.
Comfortable mid-table. I like it.
I'd say about between 14th, 15th, or 16th. I know that sounds really stupid because it's obviously still not far off the relegation zone, but points-wise, comfortable enough to be away from the chasing pack at the bottom.
Does it give you hope when you're looking at it this season? Obviously, we're looking at 8-9 teams in kind of an absolute fist fight at the minute. Would you rather it be 8-9 teams, or would you rather know kind of where you stand a bit more by this point of the season?
You would, but then I don't know. I think having 8 or 9 teams sort of opens it up a little bit, and you've got a job to do week in, week out. If you think there's 3 teams worse off than you can sometimes just think, it'll take care of itself, and you don't really fulfill your purpose as a footballer that way. So you've got to take each game as it comes. Again, Dyche coming out of me there. Take each game as it comes and just hope for the best. But I think we will be all right next year. Couple of additions, some of the old guard probably going. Like I say, we touched on Plymouth earlier. If they come up to the Championship, Barnes started his career there. Will he go back there? That's something I've sort of asked myself. But I'd love to see him join on the coaching staff. To be honest, Ross Wallace has done that with us. I mean, Charlie Adam didn't play for Burnley, but he's now our loan manager. It's weird, isn't it? All these players we've seen playing football now in management or in coaching roles, and you're just like, it makes me feel old.
It does. Yeah. It does. It's so bad. You see their sons coming through. You see the next generation. I recognise that surname. I've seen that. I've now gone. I'm now looking at Ian Wright and Wright Phillips's kids are coming through. I'm now on 3rd generation. What's going on?
It's bad, isn't it? All them times when I was younger and I thought, these footballers are so much older than me, and now I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, you're talking about something. He's getting on a bit, and you're thinking he's still like a decade younger than me.
He's a year younger than me. I said it about Harry Kane. I was like, Harry Kane, he must be getting old now. He's younger than me. I was like, oh my gosh. Not by much, though. We'll add that. Not by much.
Not by a lot. So we've got a fun game that we're going to play with you, which I know you're excited
I look
about.
forward to this.
We're not there yet. We just want to go through a couple of questions that we had from some fantastic people came in, asked us on Twitter and stuff that wanted to ask you, knowing they were coming on. So we'll get to the game in a second. Don't you worry. But I just want to ask you. So we had in from I think it was Josh. It was our very own Josh asked, because we can't miss Josh. Josh couldn't miss the opportunity to ask a question, particularly about Sean Dyche. He said, even though the Dyche sacking was harsh, given the change in style of play and apparent positive changes as a result in going down, in hindsight, was relegation a good thing?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, it allows us to change a lot, have a bit of a rebuild, start over. Look at the teams that have done that over the years. Okay, Southampton maybe going a little bit backwards, but Southampton, Leeds, Leicester, they all drop sort of down to League One and then work their way back up to, the riches of the Premier League. It can help. It just depends on what you're doing, having the right owner, doing the right things off the pitch as well. Relegation did help. Like I said, we would have had the same old players, Eric Peters at 35, probably still knocking about at left back. And to keep it short, relegation's done as well. Served us a good purpose.
Done us the good stuff, yeah. And so a question in from Chris, who's one of our regulars as well. He's asked, how has Kompany got such a different style of play out of this team?
Good question. Very good question. How he's done it, I do not know. Just to change, because he's changed a lot. Like I say, the management's changed, the chairman has changed. Everything has just sort of been a blur over the last, year to 2 years now. But it needed it. Burnley has always been looked at as this old man's club. In fact, I think I used that in that interview process to get on this fan board. I don't mean to insult anybody. I said, but it does need a bit of a youthful injection into it, because a lot of people see it as an old man's club. Things should be a certain way. If we don't adapt to the way football is adapting, it's an adapt or die situation with football. You either do or you don't. So it's good that we do. It's good that that's happening, and Kompany has been a massive factor in doing so. I think one of the things he said to Alan Pace was, never mind upgrading Turf Moor or knocking a stand down and rebuilding whatever. The money at the moment, put it on the pitch, and eventually what those players on the pitch will do will, it sort of come full circle. The money will just start rolling in eventually with the success, if that's what we get. And eventually we'll be able to do all the things that we want to do. But I like Turf Moor the way it is. It's old. It's. I know that sounds wrong when I've just said we need to sort of make things a little bit younger. But these old style grounds, they're just literally being demolished, and you're getting an empty shell. And I like the feel around it. You sort of feel the atmosphere.
Yeah.
We've done the few things, put some LED lights around. So it's a little like Christmas on a match day now, but I like that. People are doing light shows and stuff. I'm surprised we even have 50p to put in the electric, to be honest. A couple of years back we wanted done, and Dyche would have gone, what's all this about? But we're expanding, and we're doing it at a rapid rate, faster than any fan could probably think of, and Kompany's definitely had a say in that.
Excellent. No, there you go, Chris. Your question's been well and truly answered. There you go. And we've got a question from our Shahs coming in the chat. I wonder, because I've got a question too, and I'm wondering if you're going to ask the same thing as I am.
No, mine definitely won't, and mine's a really random question.
Is it about Craig Dawson?
It's not, but someone we did have on loan many years ago, and I want to know if he's still at the club. Is Kevin Long still there, or did he go? Is he gone?
He went.
He was epic. I absolutely loved him. I think it were only for a few months.
He's a cracking player. He's a cracking player. Good. And he, to be fair, we didn't really get to see that much of him in a Burnley shirt. I think when he went, we actually did up the dugouts because obviously we'd lost our bench because people used to sit on him because that's the only place he sat.
I was going to say, he was always in my fantasy Premier League, even though he wouldn't play. I just had him as that cheap option that I'd sit on the bench, but now and again he'd get a game, he'd get a few minutes.
I'd never forget the time when I think it was the first season in the Prem under Sean Dyche, and we drew 3-3 on New Year's Day against Newcastle at St James's Park. And I think Ben Mee got injured. So Kevin Long came on. And then within 2 minutes got injured himself and went off.
Oh.
And we were just like, but then he's at Birmingham now.
Oh,
he's
is
at
he
Birmingham now. And I think he's got 2 or 3 goals this season as well.
No way.
So, yeah, I mean.
Honestly, love him.
He was decent. He was decent. My stepdad's an Everton fan, so I keep winding him up about him having a Burnley B team. So
my second question as well is, can we keep Owen Dodgson next season, please?
Yeah.
Keep
yeah,
it
why not? Why not? I'll see what I can do.
His first question at the fan forum will be
I know.
You know that youth player we've got out on loan at Rochdale? I'm speaking to someone who's really fond of him. And they want him next season, no matter what division they're in. It'll help nurture him, I swear, I promise.
I know. He's already got a goal.
Exactly.
They were my only questions, and sorry for him being so random, but I used to love Kevin Long.
There's nothing wrong with being random.
Many years ago.
Random's quality.
Nothing wrong with randomness.
And so I've got one more for you before we go to the game as well. We're looking down the line with this one. Does Dyche come back? Can you see that in the future at some point?
Right now, I'd probably say no. Prior to the chairman change, there was a bit of a spat between him and the old hierarchy. I mean, Mark Garlick was as tight as a crab's arse. He would literally give you 50p for a shop at Waitrose and expect change. He was that sort of guy. They always say, don't they, about the fat cats want to get richer, and I think he was sort of using the club and feeding it like it was a pig. He was just fattening it up to eventually sell. Luckily, we managed to get someone in who a lot of people said American owner is going to be an asset stripper, things like that. He's actually come in and been a man of his word for everything he's done. He's outside mixing with fans in the fan zone pre-match and things like that. So he gets the club. He gets the club, and I like that. Dyche coming back, I think, with how much has changed in such a short space of time, there'd have to be a lot of questions as to, are we going backwards with that?
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Lampard appointment at Chelsea. They are in a do or die situation. They've gone back to a club legend to try and sort it. Newcastle did it with Shearer to try and save the skin when they got relegated. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't think we will ever go back there.
There we go. But we still love him anyway. We'll always we'll always love Dyche. And so now here we come to the portion we've all been looking forward to. And of course, I'm hoping I've got the right video here, Sharp, because Josh has put a new one on with some intros. So we'll see what happens. But this is absolutely or absolutely not.
The question with only 2 answers. Absolutely or absolutely not.
Absolutely.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not, mate. Rah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely not.
So here it comes, the question with only 2 answers. Absolutely or absolutely not.
There you go. The length that Shara and I go to.
I'm glad I was muted then, because I snort laughed.
All I
Full
could
on
think of was
snort.
that picture you put on afterwards when you'd done the
I
circles
know,
around
and
your
then
eyes,
all
and literally your face was just covered. And I'm like, oh my God, did she even get it off?
That was the best
Honestly.
bit. Was the message Charlotte sent me an hour after? Was like, I can't get this off. Look,
I had to go in work. I showered. I scrubbed it off. I had to go in work the next day, and I still had like purple on my face. But luckily, it just looked like I was really flushed. I bet people were like, "What's happened to her?"
She'd been on a date with Barney the dinosaur.
I know.
What she been up to?
I thought it was a really good idea at the time, and then once I wiped it, I thought, "Oh no, I didn't think this wasn't one of my brightest moments."
What have I done here?
Dedication to the pod.
Dedication
That's what
to
you
the
want.
board.
Dedication.
Absolutely. And because it is, of course, absolutely or absolutely not, well, we'll ask you questions with regards to the squad, with regards to transfers, but we're going to mix it up a little bit because the two we've done so far for Everton and West Ham, both of those fans are quite keen to get a lot of players out of their club. So it tends to help if we need to remove one or two. So what we're going to do with this one is obviously you have a number of loan signs. So we're going to ask you whether you think they're going to be here next season or not, whether the loans will be retained, because I would imagine you might want to keep one or two of them when we come up. So we're going to start off with here. Howard Bellis, your centre back on loan from Manchester City. Does he stay? Absolutely or absolutely not?
It's the signing of Ekdal that's made me sort of sway with this one a little bit, but I'm going to say absolutely.
Absolutely. So he's in the yes column. Howard Bellis will be in the Premier League with Burnley next season. J-Rod?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He's done his time.
Time is up for J-Rod, which means we will be able to spin the wheel to see where J-Rod is going to go at the end of all of this.
I'm excited. I love this bit.
And then we've got, but we kind of know, but I'll ask you anyway, absolutely or absolutely not, Ashley Barnes.
Yeah, absolutely not. He's been again, same with Rodriguez. You can't hold on to players due to sentiment. You know, you've got to you only get a 25-man squad in the Premier League. We've got to have some additions in there that will be able to at least do something in the Premier League. So yeah, Barnes, I'm sorry, I say that through bated breath and wiping a tear, but absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Barnes is unfortunately going, and then Nathan Teller.
Ding 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 ding. This guy should stay at the club no matter what happens. You know what? Kompany could walk and Teller would come in as manager. I don't care. I want this guy at the club. I want him at the club. Just everything from his interaction with the fans to he has been phenomenal. Absolutely. There's nothing else I need to say. It's yes, 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 and yes again.
Yes, yes, and yes. I suppose you're keeping an eye on the Southampton relegation situation as well, because that may play a big part, I suppose, into
big time.
Big time indeed. So Teller is an absolutely. And then this guy as well, who's been pretty impressive this season, Ian Maatsen, of course, on loan from Chelsea. You mentioned earlier with the Chilwell contract. Does he stay? Absolutely or absolutely not?
I'd want him to, so absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Maatsen's a funny one. There's a lot in our fan base that say yes or no. But for me, he's only going to get better. He's only young. So, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Maatsen staying as well. And then finally up, we have Bayer as well, your other centre-back.
Absolutely solid. Absolutely solid. Just reminds me of Ben Mee, but German. He's epitomises everything. I love the fact that when he has the ball at his feet, he just makes these runs into midfield, and you're like, "Hold on, you're a defender. Where are you going?" But he's not scared to do it either. He's not scared to do it. Absolutely, absolutely. And from what I'm hearing, there is a buyback in the loan. There is a purchase option.
Okay.
So fingers crossed with that one that he's going to be one of those definitelys.
It comes in and stays. So Bayer is in as well. So what that means is we have two players that are about to leave, and we need to find out where could they possibly go.
This
We turn to.
I don't get out much.
The Super Wheel of Now, we had some fantastic ones. So we had West Ham, we had Declan Rice going to Ayr United, which is a hell of a move for the money bags that Ayr United are sitting on to make that transfer happen. But we're going to. So J-Rod was up first. So where is J-Rod going to land? Is he going to land in the Premier League? Is he not? Let's have a look where J-Rod is going to feature next season. and he's going to Watford. He is going to Watford. So he's going to have about 7 managers next season. So J-Rod is staying in the chat.
He'll definitely have a chance to prove a point there, won't he?
He will indeed. He will indeed. And then Ashley Barnes, the lovable Ashley Barnes. Where does Ashley Barnes end up and spin? Is it Premier League? Does he stay in England? Where does he go to? And he's coming down south. He's going to Portsmouth and a bit of League One football for Ashley Barnes. So there you go. Very nice for him as well. So there we go. And say, Shah, do you want any players you want to move off anywhere? Well, we've got the wheel open. Could be from any club.
Mason Mount.
Mason Mount. Where is Mason Mount going? Because he is Rochdale. Josh will be pleased because I've forgotten to put Liverpool on the list. So he's not going to have that transfer.
He'd reject them anyway, like Jude Bellingham has.
He would reject them. And Mason Mount is going to... Oh, Copenhagen. Oh, there we go. He's off. Sorry, Shaw. He's off to Denmark. So
what a FIFA transfer that is.
That's a FIFA transfer and a half. Congratulations.
He's done that on purpose to get away from me, hasn't
he?
He's seen me tagging him in my tweets.
He has. That's the legal advice. That's
like, no, quit. Like,
started to shoot off a Mason Mount. But that, of course, is absolutely or absolutely not. Thank you for playing that wonderful game of ours. And so we've come to, sadly, because we've all had such a great time, this is absolutely wolfed through. Really enjoyed tonight. Thank you so much, Dan, for coming and talking to us.
Anytime. I appreciate it.
About Burnley. We absolutely loved it. It was great to hear about what you guys have done. Great to hear about the success you got with the podcast and everything going on there. And of course, Burnley have got some exciting and I'm sure some celebratory times to come over the next few weeks. But
as you can see, I'm hitting it hard on the Iron Brew. So
yeah.
Fun times in this household. Woo!
It's going big. It's going off. It's absolutely going off. So, I mean, Dan, where can everybody find you? If you want more Dan, of course, why wouldn't you want more Dan? Where can you go and find you?
Trust me, my family glad stay away. If I've not got me head dipped into a skip, you can find me at Turf Moorhouse TV. And yeah, you can find me anywhere really. Everywhere but OnlyFans, I think. So pretty much sums it up. Twitter, Facebook, you name it, all at Turf Moorhouse TV.
Not too far. Definitely do go and check Dan out and check the channel out. Some fantastic stuff onto there. We, of course, have been in Sam and Charlotte from the Absolute Football Pod. So let me just put up our handles because they're all slightly different. So we have to remember what they are. So come and follow us on Twitter. We are Absolute Ball Pod. TikTok, we are Absolute Football Pod. On Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _ So it would be great if you could subscribe to the channel. That would be fantastic. We're looking to do more of these. We're having fun talking to all sorts of people doing bits. We are live on a Monday with our main show, of course. That's on 8 o'clock, YouTube and Twitch. We do a light bite on a Thursday, which as we record now, Char and I are looking forward to our next one, which will be tomorrow. I've got to go and research some footy scran for tomorrow. So that's going to be a cracking episodes coming up there. And do just keep tabs because we've got plenty coming up for now. But again, thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate it. Charlotte, of course, thank you for being here. Wouldn't be the same without you. It's been great to have everybody on. Thank you very much. And we'll catch you next time. Cheerio.